Welcome everybody to a very special edition of Zeitgeist Live. Joining me in the studio today are two powerful advocates of the freedom movement, in general you might say. We've got Mr. John Bush of TAG, Texans for Accountable Government, as well as Douglas Mallette, lead technician for the technology team of the Zeitgeist movement. And we're going to talk about a little bit about the Zeitgeist movement in general. John had called up to a few episodes ago with some concerns, and we didn't have quite enough time to get into it. Douglas was watching the show and expressed some interest in being able to, get with John to be able to field those questions and kind of field out those concerns as well. So today we've got them both in studio, and we're just going to get clear. So yeah, welcome to the show. All right, John, man, I'm a big fan of yours, brother. Really, like you probably don't remember, but I was with you on one of the fluoride-free Austin meetings. And so, I've seen John. I've seen you up with City Council on the Vampire Act. Yep. I was there to support that.
I remember seeing you out there.
Do you? Okay, yeah. Cool, man.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, man. If you wouldn't mind, just talk a little bit about some of the organizations. I know you do a radio show, and I'd love to give you a better introduction, but you know a little more about yourself than I do, please.
Sure. Well, recently, about 2.5 years ago, a bunch of local activists came together after the Ron Paul for President 2008 campaign here in Travis County. We decided to organize to keep the effort going to restore individual liberty in the United States. So we formed a local political action committee. It was called Texans for Accountable Government. And Texans for Accountable Government, tagtexas.org, about 2.5 years ago. The first effort that we got involved with was pushing back on the vampire cops. Chief Acevedo wanted to take federal money from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration in order to train police officers to do blood withdrawals if they suspect you to be intoxicated, if they happen to pull you over. Well, that was obviously not in favor of individual liberty, so we took action, organized a big forum, a lot of media coverage. We dressed up like vampire cops and paraded on Halloween 3 years in a row now. But we don't only push back against the system, we also proactively educate people about alternative ways to get home so you don't have to get behind the wheel in the first place rather than having to deal with coercion in the state. We promote Square Patrol, which drives a scooter out to your car, puts it in your car, and drives you home. We also push back against the Austin Regional Intelligence Center, which is a fusion center. It's a law enforcement, multi-jurisdictional law enforcement apparatus which seeks to merge the information sharing and intelligence gathering practices of local, state, and federal law enforcement. And we managed to prevent that particular fusion center, which just opened in December here in Austin for Williamson, Travis, and Hayes County, from collecting non-criminal information based on political or social or religious views. So if you guys are having a big Zeitgeist movement meeting, which is obviously anti-establishment, anti-status quo, fusion centers like to protect the status quo, as does the state. They can't collect information on you. We're trying to get a seat on the Privacy Policy Advisory Committee that was created as well. We're gearing up for the 2011 legislative session. And we're really trying to take our libertarian, our movement, the people that are grassroots, educated, that are activated, and laser focus on issues that prevent individuals from living freely, such as sobriety checkpoints, which will be up against, again in the 2011 legislative session. We helped to battle them down along with the ACLU and other groups, as well as these officer-administered blood withdrawals, or a fusion center, which across the country has been known to abuse those individuals who choose to operate outside of the federal monopoly. We see them targeting them quite often, and there's a lot of people that are fed up with the current system. There's a lot of people that have expended all their petitions for redress of grievance, and continually the government ignores them. People are choosing to operate outside of the system in a peaceful manner, and unfortunately the Fusion Center and the law enforcement apparatus, guided by the Department of Homeland Security, are starting to target those people. So we're trying to push back up against that so individuals like you guys can build your movement, which seems to be based on the non-aggression principle, which is what libertarians are all about, and do that in a peaceful manner without having the state come crashing down because you're choosing to operate outside of its system. That's kind of some of the activism that we focus on at the local and state level. And then also Foundation for a Free Society is something that I'm involved in. I just started. It's a nonprofit. MyFreeSociety.com is the website, and the purpose of that is to educate, activate, and liberate, to get people, individuals, to educate themselves about the philosophy of liberty, the non-aggression principle, the right to self-ownership, free markets, and Austrian economics is also something that we promote. That's something we'll have contention with, of course. Then we ask people to activate, to get involved, to educate people about the philosophy of liberty, and also to influence local and state representatives in order to further individual liberty. But the most important part, and I think what sets us aside from a lot of other libertarian think tanks, nonprofits, foundations, is that we're also encouraging people to liberate themselves from the coercive restraints of state monopoly violence and to become self-sufficient food-wise, to participate in local competing currencies and competing economies, to learn about self-defense and self-preservation of your life, and other strategies that can make you not only embrace the philosophy of liberty, but more importantly, live as a free person. And I think that's how we're going to be able to bring about a free society. And there's a lot of overlap with what you guys are calling for, to just start creating a society that's based on the values that you guys are calling for, so I think that's great.
Yeah. John, I know you were also recently featured on the one and only conspiracy theory episode that's been pulled from the rotation on True TV, Jesse Ventura's Conspiracy Theory. That was the episode on the police state, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty radical episode. I think primarily one of the reasons why they pulled it is because we discussed on the show, on the episode, and Jesse did, and Alex Jones was on it as well, H.R. 645, which is a House resolution. It's waiting in the wings. It hasn't been passed. Congressman Cohen was one of the ones that was responsible for pulling it, but it would call on the creation of 6 regional FEMA detention centers on existing military bases. It would also put state National Guards under the control of the federal government. So this piece of legislation is essentially waiting in the wings, waiting for the next disaster or catastrophe to happen so they can pass it instantly and then go ahead with who knows what. Watch the episode. It's on YouTube. You can just Google Jesse Ventura Conspiracy Theory Police State. They yanked it. It never replayed. True TV also scrubbed it from their site, but apparently they put some of the videos back up. But all mention and references were pulled, and apparently it's being scrubbed from people's DVRs. So it was some powerful information, and a lot of it covered fusion centers and, again, how they are going after activists, but they're specifically targeting those, again, who choose to operate outside of the current system because they see those people as a threat to the status quo, which is something that's iterated a lot in the Zeitgeist Addendum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And also, if anybody wanted to catch you on the radio, you have a radio show as well, don't you?
Yeah, me and my buddy Jason Rink, we work together with the Foundation for a Free Society, and we recently started a radio show. It's called Live Free Austin, and it's on 98.9 FM every Saturday from 3 to 4 p.m. We have great guests. We had the author Tom Woods of Nullification, and we additionally just recently had a woman that does the backyard food production systems. We try to go along with the same educate, activate, liberate perspective and give people the news, views, and tools they can use in order to live a more free and prosperous life. So it's anything from food self-sufficiency. We got Jack Spirko of the Survival Podcast, which preaches modern survivalism, which means you need to get prepared, not just to prepare for a collapse, but more importantly because it's best to live in a self-sufficient, self-sustainable manner with non-GMO organic foods and all that good stuff. So we cover a lot about that, basically talk about the philosophy of liberty, and we also give calls to action for some Texans for Accountable Government activism and local activism as well. And that's every Saturday from 3 to 4 p.m. on 98.9 FM. And the website's Live Free Austin Radio, and we have a bunch of great podcasts from the first 11 episodes that we've done that it's definitely good to check out.
Cool. Awesome, man. Well, thank you for being here. And on my left, I've got Mr. Douglas Mallette. No, wait. Am I saying your last name correct?
You are, yes.
Oh, cool. Fantastic. Doug, if you would mind giving a little introduction about yourself. I know that you are, right now, you're head of the technology team of the Zeitgeist movement.
Correct.
As well as you've got a website going, Zeit News,
right,
that you started. You're not the administrator of it, are you?
Well, no.
Okay.
Yes and no.
Okay.
Both.
Okay. I know you're a filmmaker. You made an amazing film called Awakening that was really inspiring for myself. Thank you very much for doing that.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
As well as Our Technical Reality, which is on the show here. We show a transformative technology segment, which was pulled directly from your movie, which you so kindly uploaded to Mega Upload so that anybody else could download it and then re-upload it to their sites. Thank you for doing that. You work for NASA.
No.
No. You work, please. You.
Right, all right. I'm a systems engineer with the Space Shuttle program.